Get to all of that. Let's get started. Okay, first and foremost, so there's a couple things I want to talk about with respect to what's going on in Ukraine. You might have heard it in the news that humanitarian corridors have been established in ceasefire negotiations in Ukraine. That, for those of you who don't know what humanitarian corridors are, war has weird rules. It's not like fucking Call of Duty, where because there are civilians in the populations that Russia is invading, they will establish some kind of treaty or some kind of ceasefire where they will allow in two cities in eastern Ukraine openings for humanitarian aid to get through, because a lot of these cities that have been captured by the Russians or under fire by the Russians are they're running out of supplies, they're running out of food. And now this, of course, is always going to be on shaky ground. Some people believe that the ceasefire is exclusively for Russia to, resupply so they can shell further. And the ceasefire has already been, according to some reports, the ceasefire has already been violated, and that the humanitarian corridor is no longer. One of the worst parts about the humanitarian corridor in this situation, especially in like Mariupol, which is like the where a lot of the Azov battalion is stationed, is that once the ceasefire is over, then I fear that the Russian forces will then just say everyone in that city is now an enemy combatant. But here, let's look at the details.
Breaking news from the war in Ukraine. Russia declaring a limited ceasefire in two cities to the south and east of Ukraine. But reports now that agreement has already been broken.
The civilian corridors were supposed to allow people to evacuate safely from the intensive Russian bombardment and the heavy fighting. But we are hearing from an official in Mariupol that the evacuation has now been postponed as heavy shelling continues.
And because of a new censorship law passed in Russia just yesterday, some Western networks, from CNN to the BBC to Sky News and our own ABC News team, are not broadcasting from Russia as of now. An ABC News spokesperson saying, "We will continue to assess the situation and determine what this law means for the safety of our teams on the ground." This, as Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Poland for talks with top officials. We, of course, have team coverage of the story, and we're going to start with ABC's Matt Gutman in Lviv, Ukraine. Matt, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Joe. I want to give you a sense of where we are. This is part of a sprawling checkpoint complex. You can see them loading those sandbags right behind me. Now, increasingly in this conflict, civilians in the crosshairs. You mentioned that brief 5-hour ceasefire in those two cities in the east. We hear there is shelling in Mariupol. Just heard from the president's office, Zelensky's people telling people, go back home. The evacuation is canceled. Get in your bomb shelters.
This morning, that merciless Russian onslaught against civilian targets intensifying. Social media video showing an apartment complex in Chernihiv, north of Kiev, fires still smoldering. Survivors screaming and scurrying for cover. 47 people killed, according to authorities. The Russians also targeting...
I believe the number of civilian casualties on the Ukrainian side has now reached 357. That's what I saw on the last report.
A school west of the capital, gutting the building, charred textbooks amidst the debris. The Russians also taking the southern city of Kherson and focusing their fire on Ukraine's second largest city of Kharkiv. But early this morning, Russia reportedly violating a 5-hour ceasefire in the hard-hit cities of Mariupol and Volnovakha in the east. Ukrainian officials now saying the Russians shelled the humanitarian corridor as civilians tried to flee. Authorities in those cities calling off the evacuation of civilians and urging them to get into bomb shelters. Overnight, Ukraine's president criticizing NATO for rebuffing his plea for a no-fly zone and saying all of the people who die from this day forward will die because of you. And overnight,
we will also look at, that's the UN official statement. Ukraine claims upwards of thousands of civilians dead. Yeah,
how will this play out?
I mean, every single day I repeat this, but of course, I got to repeat it over and over again, which is that like every piece of information that you get from Ukraine currently is going to be either false, like outright false, or half the information. Okay, it's the fog of war. Every side has an interest in propagandizing, whether it be to increase the civilian toll, whether it be to decrease the civilian toll on the Russian side, make it seem like they're engaging in a humanitarian mission, whether it's to overestimate their capabilities on the Russian side and claim that like less troops have died actually and we're doing fucking great, or even on the Ukrainian side where they claim, oh, we're winning actually, because the war is fought on all fronts, and the war is fought on all fronts. And what that means is on the information front, which the Ukrainian side has been fucking crushing, okay, absolutely crushing. There is always going to be false information. Sometimes you will never learn what the actual accurate retelling of events looked like, okay? Because once the established narrative is established, they're just going to fucking, they're just going to continue with that, right? Farmers in Ukraine are propagandizing and stealing Russian tanks. No, not the people on the ground. It's the people on the ground have their own personal interests and their own personal, experiences. Their real experiences on the ground. That has nothing to do with how either side covers that. How either side uses that information to portray a certain type of narrative, to make it seem like something else is going on. That's just how it works. Here's an example. I'm sure the story is fake, but I want it to be real.
Thank you for
like this? Yeah. In Kyiv, a woman knocked down a Russian drone from a balcony with a jar of cucumbers. How did they expect to occupy this country? Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's no fucking shot that that's real, okay? I'm sorry. There's like 0% chance. Especially because, like, was that like a regular drone? Like, was that a civilian drone? Because real drones like Bayraktar or, actual fucking drones are so incredibly high up in the sky that the only way to genuinely shoot them down is with heat-seeking missiles, because the Bayraktar, for example, has an engine, so it runs hot, or, some kind of radar, some kind of gun, like an anti-air defense weapon with radar capabilities. So it could have been like maybe a small surveillance drone, but even then, bro, you don't know about drones? I have spent years playing Watch Dogs. You are wrong. Okay, well, I've actually asked, people who build drones about the possibility of not the cucumber, but like how easy it is to like literally shoot it down or some shit. But
15 months. Yeah.
What is this? Dudes escaping Ukraine during active shelling says. Escaping Ukraine during active shelling, he's okay because he smokes cannabis. Tell NBC reporters that legalize this. Jesus Christ, dude. It's just like this is always wonderful. Like,
where all that military sound that you're hearing, there are civilians there at the end of that. Terrified civilians. Look, these are some of them that have just come out. Again, there's a small gaggle of journalists here who are trying to get into the city to talk to some of the civilians, and these are the coaches that they're being taken out on. Let's just take a quick look.
Dude, if there's one thing I've learned from this war, more important than anything else that I've seen, okay? The Ukrainian people are very proud, they're very strong, very resilient. But nothing, and I mean nothing, matches the integrity, okay? The poise, posture, and overall courage demonstrated by the Ukrainian bus drivers. Okay? Ukrainian bus drivers are just the actual fucking heroes, okay? Like, you think the American SEAL Team 6 are heroes? Fuck no, okay? Ukrainian bus drivers make the entire US military look like a bunch of fucking babies playing patty cakes, okay? These dudes have just been fucking driving around like nothing's going on. The public transit workers of Ukraine, like, God damn, dude. They're incredible. They're incredible people. They're just like, yeah. No, we keep going. We must. It's like bombing is happening in the city, and you see the bus just drive through the bombs. Wild.
Look inside before. Just
Ghost bus driver of Kyiv. People say he run over 20 tanks with his bus. Yeah. Why is no one writing fucking fake stories about the fucking bus drivers? That's what's really frustrating. Everyone's like, oh, Ghost of Kyiv. You know, he destroyed like 500 Russian planes. How about the bus driver that's evacuated like, 10,000 fucking Ukrainians? Okay. No one, that's what I want to do. I want to write a fucking story about the ghost bus driver of Kyiv.
Just to get a quick. Does anyone speak English here?
Yeah.
Hi. What was it like in there? Where you've just come from Irpin or somewhere else?
We were on circle, like when you're.
It's okay. Don't worry. Okay, they're very stressed. Tell me quickly. Are you all right?
I'm all right.
And how many people are trapped in there?
Legalized 420. American.
British.
I smoke weed, legalized, 420. You know this motherfucker has crypto, dude. You know this motherfucker. He's like next to some babushkas who are like screaming in Ukrainian about like needing help. And he's like, yeah, 420, legalize.
British. How many more?
Cannabis legalized in Great Britain?
Pardon?
Is cannabis legalized in
I don't.
Bro, homie's got his rings on and shit. I love this dude, okay? This dude is, oh my God. He's got his fucking, he's like, I can't hear. Bombs fall, I can't hear. I got my gaming headset on. I in my head canon, this is a HasanAbi head. I take it back. He's not some NFT crypto guy, but instead he's a HasanAbi head who's like, yeah, I didn't evacuate because I watched dumb Twitch streamer HasanAbi. He says no invasion going to happen. So now invasion happening, and what the fuck?
Know whether cannabis is licensed. I'm glad that's all you're thinking about. How many civilians are still there, do you think?
I think not many. Those who can't, defend themselves.
Right, but there are still substantial civilians there. Look, you can see they're in.
He's like, is it legal in Britain? Like he's gonna go. He's like, is it legal in Britain? I want to go. Legalize. That's awesome. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, can't hear the bombs, bro. The weed is too loud, homie.